Right, sorry about the last video ending as it did. I've got a stopwatch on here, what I didn't keep an eye on. I've only got 20-minute segments on this camera. You're probably all screaming, thank God for that. But let's get on to it again. Sorry about that. Questions. So we said about Quest Eye on. Quest Eye on. Right. So you've got the distractions in the theatre in this box, and all the distractions are designed to keep you squeezed down on the question. Like we said, the quest you're on. One of the major distractors in there, and one of the major programming tools is obviously telly. Really, it's designed that way. It's not your friend. Telly is a tranquilizer, really, up in the corner. You watch a bit of telly, it's just programming you without you really knowing it. It's a hugely effective tool for them to keep you sedated, programmed, and not really doing anything about anything really. And it's a tool to give you your worldview straight into your brain. So programming and actually telly actually means, if you break it down, as we have to, as you'll know on this channel, the English language is tell a lie to your vision. All right, television. All right, tell a lie to your vision. So the distraction is that's just one of multiple tools used, but the distractions in the box are there to stop you from asking the bigger questions of your life, you know, so to squeeze you into that container. So the gatekeepers are doing their jobs and doing them very, very well. If you notice, I'll just take this out of here, just a touch, right? We left little gaps here out of this box, right? There's a little gap here, and there's a gap here, right? They're the gates, they are. There's always a way out. You have to really search for it and look for it though. But there's a gate out of there, that reality, that level of reality. Breadcrumbs are left in there for you to find as information. There's information that you've got to go in search of in here. And this is where your questions come in. The bigger, you can't answer a question that hasn't been imagined yet, you know, so you've got to start leveling up on your questions and go in search of this information. Really, that information should turn to knowledge. Knowledge. Yeah, it should turn into knowledge along the way. And then wisdom, really, inner wisdom, right? But knowledge, if you split that down, what that will mean, knowledge is, as you split it apart again, that actually means know the ledge, right? Because if you don't know the ledge, you're going to fall into the world of illusion, and that's what this is. This box is an illusion. That's the world of illusion. So you've got to know the ledge. If not, you'll fall into it. So we all fell into it from birth on the last videos, which wasn't our fault in any way, shape or form. It's just that we didn't know. How would we? But through life, it is our job to gather the information and then have the knowledge, know the ledge, you know, so that we can stop, we can get out of it, we can not be falling no more. So that's that little antidote there. But what we're going to do is now look at the next level of reality, okay? So there are other levels of reality on this. When I say going through the gates, let's just put this little gaps here. Right, as you step out of this, as you glean the information, what we've just said, and turn it into knowledge, to know the ledge, what happens is you start seeing this all for what it is, right? What we said, how it's painful in the world and the earth, right? Because this journey of going through the gates is actuality, right? The whole journey is you remembering who you are, right? So this whole journey coming out of here, down, 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 or whatever way you want to see it, right? This journey is to you. When you hear people saying, I want to go home, I want to, you know, they've had they're on this journey. The journey is to yourself, right? Always will be. It's to remember you, who you are. That's the whole journey through the gates. So when I talk about the gates and going back through the gates, what it is, if you remember who you are, you've got to travel back through these gates and into this place again, this reality, this soup, what we call it, right, where all the masses are and everything else that we've described in here lives. So you can go through these gates of reality, levels of perception, expansion, you know, of yourself, really. Expanding back to your own imaginations, you know, and out of the box, the container that's been formed within you. So, you know, it's all about this, really. So when you go through, the gatekeepers have failed on this level, right, the major level, where all the confusion is, that's really big and confusion, everything's bombarding you, lights, anger, temper, everyone's angry, all of this. You're having that moment of clarity, you're starting to gather it all together and you're starting to see this, exactly what it is, all your clocks, your times, everything's in here, alarm clocks, jobs, everything is in there. Like we said, I can't emphasize it enough. You find your way in and you go into this level of perception, all right? The next, the bigger, wider perception and expansion of your consciousness, you get into the next level, what we'll call it. This level is less populated because if you notice that everything's in here, right? And this is what people are going to struggle with on their journeys, is that when you get into here, it's more isolating. There's less of you about, there's less of us about, right? Because the ones in here are still gate kept, but you've gone through that level now and you're into this level. When you get into this level, be careful, right? Be really, really careful, because what you're going to do, you're going to find out that the gatekeepers in here, right, have to be better at their jobs than the gatekeepers in this one, because you've leveled up. Hang on, girls, because you've leveled up, right? They're going to level their game up. They're going to try and get you in cul-de-sacs all the time, because now they've realised that your level of perception has changed. It's got bigger, it's huger, or it's not huger, but it's just bigger. These are going to have to get much more, they're going to have to up their game, right? Because they don't want you going into this one. Their job is to keep you in that reality, isn't it? So, you've got the gatekeepers in here. Hang on a minute, I'm just going to have to deal with these dogs. Sorry about this. Right, out you go. Right, please. Nice one. Right, sorry. Right, so they're going to have to up their game, because you've upped your game. Because the quests that you're on, the questions that you're asking now are bigger. These have got to be bigger to deceive you, right? They've got to come with you, right? Because the last thing they want you to do is full remembrance, right? Full memory, full connection back to spirit, right? So they up their game. But this is less populated. What we got on here? Sorry, I've got to keep this going. Right, yeah, we've got enough. Right, so this is going to get less populated. Right, the only thing is, right, when you drop into the level out of the soup, what we'll call it, that mainframe, and it's less populated, what it is that everyone in there, right, everyone in here as gatekeepers around you, all the stories and everything else, and they're going to see you as different. Right, you're going to become a little bit different now, right? Because you've just moved away from the level of how they've been taught to think, right? And their level of perception. So now you're into a bigger level of perception. You've expanded. And this is where, this first gate is where a lot of arguments will be created, because this is the one where you start shouting out and trying to get a message back to all these ones, because you're freaking out and you don't want them to be hurt because you can see it for what it is, and they're not going to hear you, right? They're not going to hear you at the moment. So the more that they're just going to see you as being a bit unhinged, you know, because everyone in here, this is so real to them, right? You're trying to really punch in and say, look, because you love everyone in there. You know, that box what I talked about, all your friends, all your family, everything you care about is in there. But you've expanded now, so your language is a little bit different, and you know you found out about everything with pharmaceuticals, what it's doing to people, every big pharma, all of this, all the politics. You found it all out, right? So now you're in this level of perception. So you are screaming. They can't hear you, and this is where what we talk about. You have to get your bridging skills up and running, right? This is really, we need to do this, right? So, because there's people out there what will be isolated, so we'll take care of this now. Your bridging skills are bridging, knowing you're going to bridge from this reality to that reality, right? Now, if you're new to this, you're going to be screaming. You've got to calm that screaming down, because you're going to freak these out, right? And they're going to get freaked out about you, who you are and what you are. And we've done this, and a lot of us have. This is what we call bridging, right? So what you do now, when you're in this level of reality, forget about these ones for a minute. When you're in this level of reality and bridging, what you're going to do, you're going to give a version, right? A version of yourself that these are comfortable with, these people, right? Because if you don't give them a version of you, what they're comfortable with, you're not going to have anything in common with these anymore at the moment. And that's going to freak everyone out, right? So there's going to be a version of you, what you created, where you can still talk to your dad about football or golf or whatever he's into, right? Even though you know what it is. It's a distraction. It's